Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamati Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, Mother Yashoda binds Lord Krishna. Text 19 onwards. Evam sandarshita hiyanga harina bhritya vashyata swavashena pi krishnena yasyedam sa eshwaram vashe. O Maharaj Parikshit, this entire O Maharaj Parikshit, this entire universe, with its great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Indra, is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet the Supreme Lord has one special transcendental attribute. He comes under the control of his devotees. This was now exhibited by Krishna in this pastime. This pastime of Krishna is very difficult to understand, but devotees can understand it. It's therefore said, Darshayam Tad Vidan Loka. The Lord displays a transcendental attribute of coming under the control of his devotees. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ekopi Asau Rachayitam Jagadanda Koti. By his own plenary portion as Paramatma, the Lord controls innumerable universes with all their demigods. Yet he agrees to be controlled by a devotee. In the Upanishads, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can run with more speed than the mind. But here we see that although Krishna wanted to avoid being arrested by his mother, he was finally defeated. And Mother Yashoda captured him. Lakshmi Sahasrashat Sambrahma Sevemana. Krishna is served by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. Nonetheless, he steals butter like one whose poverty is stricken. Yamaraj, the controller of all living entities, fears the order of Krishna. Yet Krishna is afraid of his mother's stick. These contradictions cannot be understood by one who is not a devotee, but a devotee can understand how powerful is unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. It is so powerful that Krishna can be controlled by an unalloyed devotee. This Bhritya Vashyata does not mean that he is under the control of the servant. Rather, he is under the control of the servant's pure love. So that's what makes him come under the control. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna. Arjuna ordered him, Senyorubhyora Madhye Ratham Sthapya Me Achyuta. My dear Krishna, you have agreed to be my charioteer and to execute my orders. Place my chariot between the two armies of soldiers. Krishna immediately executed this order, and therefore one may argue that Krishna also is not independent. But this is on one's ajnana, ignorance. Krishna is always fully independent. When he becomes subordinate to his devotees, this is a display of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, the humor of transcendental qualities that increases his transcendental pleasure. Everyone worships Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he sometimes desires to be controlled by someone else. Such a controller can be no one else but a pure devotee. So Prabhupada just take to the point that Krishna comes under the control of his devotees, not under the control of person devotee, but the love that they have for him. And in fact, this is Radharani has 25 qualities. Of course, she has innumerable qualities, but they can be grouped under 25 qualities. And the last quality is she completely controls Krishna. With her love, obviously, with her love, with her mood, but she completely controls. And here, Yashoda Maya, she bound him up. And Krishna agreed to be bound up. by the love of Mother Yashoda. And look at his face. He's bound up and he's still angry at Mother Yashoda. Nemam virinchu nabhavo na shrirapya sanshraya prasadam lebhire gopi yattat prapa vimuktida. Neither Lord Brahma nor Lord Shiva nor even the goddess of fortune, who is always a better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer from this material world, such mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. This is a comparative study between Mother Yashoda and other devotees of the Lord. As stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arsa Bhritya. The only Supreme Master is Krishna, and all others are his servants. Krishna has a transcendental quality of Bhritya Vashyata, becoming subordinate to his Bhritya or servant. Now, although everyone is Bhritya and although Krishna has a quality of being subordinate to his Bhritya, the position of Mother Yashoda is the greatest. Lord Brahma is Bhritya, a servant of Krishna, and he is Adi Kavi, the original creator of this universe. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavi. Nonetheless, even he could not obtain such mercy as Mother Yashoda. As for Lord Shiva, he is a topmost Vaishnava, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. What to speak of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva? The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the Lord's constant companion in service, since she always associates with his body. But even she could not get such mercy as Mother Yashoda did. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was surprised, thinking, what did Mother Yashoda and Nand Maharaj do in the previous lives by which they got such a great opportunity? The opportunity to be affectionate father and mother of Krishna. So this is the special exalted position of Mother Yashoda. In this verse, there are three negative pronouncements. Na, na, na. When anything is uttered three times, it becomes three times. Do it, do it, do it. One should understand that this is meant to indicate great stress on a fact. In this verse, we find na lebire, na lebire, na lebire. Means we do not find such a person as fortunate as Mother Yashoda. Yet Mother Yashoda is in the supermost exalted position, and thus Krishna has become completely subordinate to her. The word Vimuktidat is also significant. There are different types of liberation, such as Sayujya, Salokya, Sarupya, Sarshti, and Samipya. But Vimukti means the special mukti. When after Vimukti means Vishesh Mukti. When after liberation, one is situated on the platform of Prema Bhakti, one is said to have achieved Vimukti, special Mukti. Therefore, the word Na is mentioned. That exalted platform of Prema is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Prema Pumartha Maha. And Mother Yashoda naturally acts in such an exalted position in loving affairs. She is therefore a Nitya Siddha devotee, an expansion of Krishna's Hladini potency. His potency to enjoy transcendental bliss through expansions who are special devotees. Such devotees are not Sadhana Siddha. So she is a Nitya Siddha, Nitya associate of the Supreme Lord. So even Shivaji, Brahmaji, Lakshmiji, they don't have that kind of fortune as Mother Yashoda. Nayam Sukhapu Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutaha Jnaninam Chatma Bhutanam Yatha Bhaktimatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service. But he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as a self. So body the same as a self means the karmis. So he is not at all accessible to anybody else except the devotees. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as son of Mother Yashoda, is very easily available to devotees, but not to tapasvis, yogis, jnanis, and others who have a bodily conception of life. Although they may sometimes be called Shanta Bhaktas, real bhakti begins with Dasiras. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. As living entities surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Everyone is seeking Krishna, for he is the super soul of all individual souls. Everyone loves his body and wants to protect it because he is within the body as a soul. And everyone loves the soul because the soul is part and parcel of the super soul. Everyone is actually seeking to achieve happiness by reviving his relationship with the super soul. As the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedasya sarve rahme vidya. By all the Vedas, it is I who am to be known. Therefore, the karmis, jnanis, yogis, and saintly persons are all seeking Krishna. But by following in the footsteps of devotees who are in a direct relationship with Krishna, especially the inhabitants of Vrindavan, one can reach the supreme position of associating with Krishna. As it is said, Vrindavan parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. Krishna does not leave Vrindavan even for a moment. The Vrindavan Vasis, Mother Yashoda, Krishna's friends, Krishna's conjugal lovers, the younger gopis with whom he dances, have very intimate relationships with Krishna. And if one follows in the footsteps of these devotees, Krishna is available. Also, the Nitya Siddha expansions of Krishna always remain with Krishna. If those engaged in sadhana siddhi follow in the footsteps of Krishna's Nitya Siddha associates, such sadhana siddhas also can easily attain Krishna without difficulty. So this is the process. Actually, Nectar of Devotion, it is explained in more detail how to follow, why to follow. But this is the process. I mean, sadhana siddhas, or sadhana, those who are sadhakas, not siddhas yet, those who are sadhakas, they should follow a Nitya Siddha devotee, and in his footsteps, his or her, in her footsteps or his footsteps, following the same mode, when they perform this sadhana, they can attain also perfection. Now the question is, can we follow in footsteps of Mother Yashoda or the gopis or manjaris? Whom do we follow? $1 million question. So for us, the best answer is to follow Srila Prabhupada. He is a Nitya Siddha devotee. He is a perfect person, perfect associate of the Lord who had come here to just give us his mercy. So if you follow him, follow his instructions, and that's it. He will take us back. He will take us to the perfection that we desire. What would be our constitution or the Swarupa? There's a technical word called Siddha Swarupa, the perfect position. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let Prabhupada reveal it to us. We just follow him. That's all. But there are those who are attached to worldly concepts of life. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, for example, have very prestigious positions, and thus they have the sense of being very exalted Ishvaras. In other words, because Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are Gunavatars and have exalted positions, they have some small sense of being like Krishna. But the pure devotees who inhabit Vrindavan do not possess any bodily conception. They are fully dedicated to the service of the Lord in sublime affection, prema. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had therefore recommended Prem Pamartha Maha. The highest perfection of life is prema, pure love in relationship with Krishna. And Mother Yashoda appears to be the topmost of devotees who have attained this perfection. And that's why Mother Yashoda is so well known all over the universes. She's the mother of Krishna. There could be many gopis, of course. There's only one Radharani, but mother is always mother. She has full control over Krishna. Krishnastu grihi kriteshu vyagrayam matri prabhu adrakshi darjuno purvam guyako dhanad atmajo. While Mother Yashoda was very busy with household affairs, the Supreme Lord Krishna observed twin trees known as Yamal Arjun, which in a former millennium had been the demigod sons of Kubera. Now Krishna is bound up and Yashoda Maya got busy with her household affairs. It's a day of Diwali, and she had to make so many arrangements. And Krishna, being very restless, very naughty, she had to bind him up. So Krishna observed these twin trees. But before he did his pastime with these twin trees, now Krishna is bound up. He is looking inside and crying and trying to get attention of Mother Yashoda to come out and untie him. But then his friends also came, cowherd boyfriends. So they also came to see what is happening. And now Krishna is tied up. But all these friends, they did not dare to come inside and untie him because they were afraid of Mother Yashoda. And also Acharya has said, because they are in the mood of Sakhyaras. And Vatsalya Ras is more powerful than Sakhyaras. So they could not come inside. They couldn't have untied him because Mother Yashoda had tied him up with Vatsalya Ras. So they were there and they were also afraid, but at the same time they were laughing at Lala. That, see, Lala, you're tied up. And Krishna looking inside at Mother Yashoda, he is crying or pretending to cry for her to come out and untie him. And when he looks at his friends, he is laughing. Very, very difficult situation for Krishna. But then Balramji came. Balramji was not home when all this happened. So he came and he saw Krishna being tied up with this mortar. And he got angry. He said, who had tied my brother up? Even he didn't have the guts to untie him. But he started yelling, who tied my brother up? He should come right away and untie him. Mother Yashoda heard Balram screaming like that. So she came from inside. She said, I tied him up. What do you want? What's your problem? Oh, why did you tie him up? You don't know who he is. Who is he? Yashoda, who is he? Oh, he came as Narsingh Avatar and he killed Hiranyaksha. He came as Vara Avatar and he killed as Vaman Vara Avatar. He killed Hiranyaksha. Narsingh Avatar, he killed Hiranyakashipu. He came as Ram and he killed Ravan and so many Rakshasas. They were wonderful pastimes. And now you untie him right now, otherwise I'm going to come in my Sankarshan avatar and I'm going to burn down the whole universe. Yashoda Maya said, when she went inside to take care of her household affairs, she left that stick over there only, outside. So she picked up that stick. She said, yeah, all the incarnations had to take birth in my house only. What incarnation? He's a liar. He's a thief. And Balramji was getting angry. Oh, if you don't untie him, I'll burn down the whole universe. He said, you'd run away from here. I'll also beat you up and tie you up. Balramji ran away from there. He told Krishna, see, Lala, I told you, don't do so much of mischief. Don't steal butter so much. See, now you're tied up. I cannot do anything. And Yashoda Maya again threw away the stick when Balram ran away from there. She went inside. And now Lala is still tied up. He cannot, nobody could untie him. It's a very difficult position for him. Now he saw these twin trees and he thought of the two sons of Kubera. Pura Narada Shapena Vrakshatam Prapito Madat Nalkuvaramani Griva Iti Khyato Shriyanvito. In their former birth, these two sons, known as Nalakuvar and Manigiri, were extremely opulent and fortunate. But because of pride and false prestige, they did not care about anyone, and thus Narad Muni cursed them to become trees. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 10th canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Mother Yashoda binds Lord Krishna. So we'll start the 10th chapter, Deliverance of the Yamal Arjun trees. Shri Rajo Vacha Kathitam Bhagwan Netat Tayo Shapasya Karanam Yattad Vigarhitam Karma Yenava Devarshes Tamaha. King Parikshit inquired from Shukdev Goswami, a great and powerful saint, what was the cause of Nalkuvars and Manigiris having been cursed by Narad Muni? What did they do that was so abominable that even Narad, the great sage, became angry at them? Kindly describe this to me. Shri Shukvacha Rudrasyanucharo Bhutva Sudripto Dhanad Admacho Kailaso Pavane Ramye Mandakenya Madotkato Varuni Madiram Pitva Mada Ghurni Talochano Stri Janer Anugayad Bhish Cheratu Pushpite Vane. Shukdev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, because the two sons of Kuvera had been elevated to the association of Lord Shiva, to the association of Lord Shiva, of which they were very much proud, they were allowed to wander in a garden attached to Kailash on the banks of Mandakini river. Taking advantage of this, they used to drink a kind of liquor called Varuni. Accompanied by women singing after them, they would wander in the garden of flowers, their eyes always rolling in intoxication. So this is what happens when they have so much of money, they're sons of Kuvera, and they became associates of Lord Shiva. And they could go and wander in that garden on the bank of Mandakini river. This verse mentions some of the material advantages afforded to persons associated with or beloved to Lord Shiva. Apart from Lord Shiva, if one is a devotee of any other demigod, one receives some material advantages. Foolish people therefore become devotees of demigods. This has been pointed out and criticized by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Kama stasta hrityana. Those who are not devotees of Krishna have a taste for women, wine, and so forth, and therefore they have been described as hrityana, bereft of sense. The Krishna consciousness movement can very easily point out such foolish persons, for they have been indicated in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says, Namam dushkritino mula. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Anyone who is not a devotee of Krishna and does not surrender to Krishna must be considered a Naradham, the lowest of men, and Dushkriti, one who always commits sinful activities. Thus, there is no difficulty in finding out who is class or fourth class man, for one's position can be understood simply by this crucial test. Is he or he is not a devotee of Krishna? And Krishna says, those who are not my devotees, those who don't surrender to me, they are the asuram bhavam ashrita. They're not devotees, they are asura bhava. Why are devotees of the demigods greater in number than the Vaishnavas? The answer is given herein. Vaishnavas are not interested in such fourth-class pleasures as wine and women, nor does Krishna allow them such facilities. So people generally, they don't want to become devotees of Krishna because this is what they want. Wine and women means lots of money and lots of sense gratification. And they don't want to become devotees of Krishna. Anta pravishya gangayam amboj vanarajini chikrid turayuvati bhir gajav eva karenubhi. Within the waters of the Mandakini Ganges, which are crowded with gardens of lotus flowers, the two sons of Kuvera would enjoy young girls, just like two male elephants enjoying in the water with female elephants. People generally go to the Ganges to be purified of the effects of sinful life. But here is an example of how foolish persons enter the Ganges to become involved in sinful life. It's not that everyone becomes purified by entering the Ganges. Everything spiritual and material depends on one's mental condition. Very, very important. So not everyone becomes purified by entering the Ganges. So how we enter, what mood we enter. Just like from Delhi, Rishikesh is very close, not too far. And I guess with the new roads being built, people can go very fast to Rishikesh. And at Rishikesh, we have beautiful Ganges flowing. I think two streams, they combine together, Alaknanda and Bhagirathi, and then they become one, something like that. But since, as Prabhupada said, not everybody goes to Ganges for purification. Some people go for white water rafting in Ganges water. Ganges is not for rafting. Of course, some purification still might be there because they're going to Ganges, but the whole purification cannot happen because they're not going there for purification. They're going there to enjoy, to play in the Ganges water, and obviously to play with the opposite sex also in the Ganges water. So that should not be the purpose. When you go to Ganges or Yamuna or any other place, holy place, go with the right mood, the right consciousness, with the mood to serve. Basically, that should be the mood. Whether we can serve Ganges, whether we can try to clean up that area, or we just sit down and chant, take bath and chant. That is the right mood. But here in Nalkuvar and Manigriv, they were enjoying with young girls over there. Yadrichya cha devarshir, Bhagwan Satra Kaurava, Apashan Narado Devo, Kshibano Samabuddhyata. O Maharaj Parikshit, by some auspicious opportunity for the two boys, the great Saint Devarshi Narad once appeared there by chance. Seeing them intoxicated with rolling eyes, he could understand the situation. So Narad Muni, he just knows how to be at the right place at the right time. It said, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrike. Okay. Wherever Narad Muni goes, any movement at which he appears is understood to be extremely auspicious. It's also said, Brahmanda Brahmita Kona Bhagyavanti. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with the bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. Narad Muni appeared in the garden to give the two sons of Kuvera the seed of devotional service, even though they were intoxicated. Saintly persons know how to bestow mercy upon fallen souls. So these two boys, they were intoxicated, playing in the Ganges water with the female friends, and at that time Narad Muni showed up. And Narad Muni, he knew they are the sons of Kuvera, associates of Lord Shiva, so they need the right lesson. Tam drishtva vridita devyo vivastraha shapishankitaha vasansi paryadhu shigram vivastro neva guhyako. Upon seeing Narad, the naked young girls of the demigods were very much ashamed, afraid of being cursed. They covered their bodies with their garments. But the two sons of Kuvera did not do so. Instead, not caring about Narad, they remained naked. तो दृष्ट्वा मदिरामत्तो श्रीमदान्धो सुरात्मजो तयोर अनुग्रहार्थाय शापम दास्यन्निदं जगौ. Seeing the two sons of the demigods naked and intoxicated by opulence and false prestige, Devarshi Narad, in order to show them special mercy, Narad Muni was not offended. He just wanted to give them mercy, desired to give them a special curse. Thus he spoke as follows. Although in the beginning Narad Muni appeared very angry and cursed them, at the end the two demigods, Nalgova and Manigriva, were able to see the Supreme Personality of God at Krishna face to face. Thus the curse was ultimately auspicious and brilliant. One has to judge what kind of curse Narad placed upon them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives here a good example. When a father finds his child deeply asleep, but the child has to take some medicine to cure some disease, the father pinches the child so the child will get up and take the medicine. In a similar way, Narad Muni cursed Nalkuvar and Manigriva in order to cure their disease of material blindness. So they were they had this blindness because they are sons of Kubera, associate of Lord Shiva. They were like, who can do anything against us? In fact, these two brothers also appear in Ramayana. So once again, they were enjoying with their Apsara, and I believe it was Ramba. They were enjoying with. And Ravan came. So Ravan was powerful, very, very powerful, and he had kicked out Kuvera from Sri Lanka and took over his Pushpak Viman and the palace and all the gold, everything that was there. So Ravan came over there and he forcefully defiled that Apsara. So Nalguvar and Manigriva, they cursed Ravan at that time. If you ever forcefully try to defile a woman, your head will burst into pieces and you will die. So Ravan, he came back, although he had that, forget it, who are you to? But then he was afraid. He was like, these demigods, and they curse somebody, it really comes true. So I better be careful. I better not do this forcefully. Let the girl be agree to it. Then I can have the union. And that is why he could not forcefully, he could not force Mother Sita to marry him or to be his partner. He could not force her. Of course, other things were also there, but this curse was also very, very important for him to remember. The same boys were there also in Ramayana. Shri Narada Vacha, Niya na hi anyo jushato joshyan, buddhi dhansho rajo guna, Shrimad Adha Bhijati Adir, Yatra Stri Dyutam Asavaha. Narad Muni said, among all the attractions of material enjoyment, the attraction of riches bewilders one's intelligence more than having beautiful bodily features, taking birth in an aristocratic family and being learned. So being rich it just bewilders one. When one is uneducated but falsely puffed up by wealth, the result is that one engages his wealth in enjoying wine, women, and gambling. And that's definitely what happens. Among the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, people are certainly conducted by the lower qualities, namely passion and ignorance, and especially by passion. Conducted by the mode of passion, one becomes more and more involved in material existence. Therefore, human life is meant for subduing the modes of passion and ignorance and advancing in the mode of goodness. So that's the whole thing we have to do. But we are so much in passion and ignorance, we don't even realize, or people in general, they don't even realize this thing. Tada rajas tamo bhava, kama lobha dhyasya. This is culture. One must subdue the modes of passion and ignorance. And the mode of passion, when one is falsely proud of wealth, one engages his wealth only for three things, namely wine, women, and gambling. We can actually see this, especially in this age, that those who have unnecessary riches simply try to enjoy these three things. In Western civilization, these three things are very prominent because of an unnecessary increase of wealth. Narad Muni considered all this in the case of Manigriv and Nalkuva because he found in them so much pride in the wealth of their father, Kuvera. And this is very much true. Prabhupada says in Western civilization, in India, it's the same thing is happening in India. Now, somehow, by Krishna's mercy, money is pouring in India. And what are people doing with that money? So many clubs, bars, and this and that have opened up. And people think this is what we were missing, and this is what Americans are doing and Europeans are doing, and we have to follow them. We have to blindly follow them, and we also want to enjoy it like they do, but they don't see the cost of this so-called enjoyment. It's horrible. First of all, we lose our health by drinking so much and by doing all of the nonsense things. And then it leads to lots of frustration, depression, and problems in the relationships, problems in taking care of next generation. There's so many things going on. But people who are blind by money, they don't realize it, they don't understand this. Hanyante pashvo yatra nirdayar ajitatma bhi manya manarimam deham ajaram mrityu nashwaram. Unable to control their senses, rascals who are falsely proud of their riches or their birth in an aristocratic families are so cruel that to maintain their perishable bodies, which they think will never grow old or die, they kill poor animals without mercy. Sometimes they kill animals merely to enjoy an excursion. Yes. When the modes of passion and ignorance increase in human society, giving rise to unnecessary economic development, the result is that people become involved with wine, women, and gambling. Then, being mad, they maintain big slaughterhouses or occasionally go on pleasure excursions to kill animals, forgetting that however one may try to maintain the body is subject to birth, death, old age, and disease. Such foolish rascals engage in sinful activities one after another. And to do what? To give pleasure to this body. That's all. Being dushkritis, they completely forget the existence of the supreme controller who is sitting within the core of everyone's hearts. That supreme controller is observing every bit of one's activity, and he rewards or punishes everyone by giving one a suitable body made by material nature. In this way, sinful persons automatically receive punishment in different types of bodies. The root cause of this punishment is that when one unnecessarily accumulates wealth, one becomes more and more degraded, not knowing that his wealth will be finished with his next birth. But people, they don't want to know about next birth. They don't know about next birth. They don't want to believe in the next birth. They said, this is the only life. Eat, drink, and be merry. Somehow or other, enjoy it. That's it. That's the goal of life. Nasadu manne yatatmanoya. Animal killing is prohibited. Every living being, of course, has to eat something. Jivo jivasya jivanam. But one should be taught what kind of food one should take. Therefore, the Ishopanishad that instructs tena tepena bhandita. One should eat whatever is allotted for human beings. So one should take whatever is allotted. And Krishna gives this indication in Bhagavad Gita. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a fruit, flower, a fruit or water, I'll accept it. A devotee therefore does not eat anything that would require slaughterhouses of poor animals. Rather, devotees take prasad of Krishna. Tena tektena bhunjita. Krishna recommends that one give him patram pushpam phalam toyam, a leaf of flower, fruit, or water. Animal food is never recommended for human beings. Instead, a human being is recommended to take prasad, remnants of food left by Krishna. If one practices eating prasad, even if there is some little sinful activity involved, one becomes free from the results of sinful acts. So what sinful activity is involved when somebody takes prasad? Because everything that we do, suppose we get some wheat and get it grinded to make atta, or we buy atta from market. So some insects are there which get grinded with the wheat. Or when we take out like wheat or rice, when that rice is or wheat is collected, the plants are killed. The plants are taken out. It's not like when we grow and take an apple. The tree is still there. The apple tree is still there. We only take in an apple. But here, the whole plant has to die. And similarly, so many other things are there. So some sin is there, but it's not, first of all, it's not the same as killing an animal and eating. It's not the same. Killing an animal, eating is worst kind of eating habit one can have. So even if some sin is there in collecting food and preparing food, cooking food, completely vegetarian food, but when we offer it to Krishna, Krishna removes any kind of sinful acts from that food, and it becomes prasad. Prasad means mercy of Krishna. But those who are very, because of their wealth, they're very hard-headed, and they commit all sorts of sinful activities. One becomes wealthy by performing so many pious activities in the previous lives, and all of a sudden, this life he just enjoys, and he just completely takes care of the bank balance of pious activities he has performed so far. Of course, the mentality of demonic mentality is what? I'll do some yajna and I'll give some charity, some dan, some tapa, but mostly I'll enjoy. But okay, on the side, I'll also do some charity, so I'm okay. But it's not okay, because positive, pious and impious acts, they don't cancel each other out. So we suffer for impious acts and we enjoy for piety. But it's when somebody becomes very arrogant because of money and commits so much of sin, that's what takes him, brings him down badly. Deva sangitam apyante krimi vibhangsma sangitam bhuta krite swartham kim veda nirayo yataha. While living, one may be proud of one's body, thinking oneself a very big man, minister, president, or even demigod. But whatever one may be, after death, this body will turn it either into worms, into stool, or into ashes. If one kills poor animals to satisfy the temporary whims of this body, one does not know that he will suffer in his next birth. For such a sinful miscreant must go to hell and suffer the results of his actions. In this verse, the three words, krimi with the bhasma, are significant. After death, the body may become a krimi, which means worms. And for if the body is disposed of without cremation, it may be eaten by worms, or else it may be eaten by animals like hogs and vultures and be turned into stool. Those who are more civilized burn the dead body, and thus it becomes ashes. Yet, although the body will be turned into worms, stool, or ashes, foolish persons, just to maintain it, commit many sinful activities. This is certainly regrettable. The human form of body is actually meant for jivasya tattva jigyasa, enlightenment and knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, one must seek shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. One must approach a guru. Who's guru? A guru is one who has full transcendental knowledge. Unless one approaches a spiritual master, one remains in ignorance. One has full knowledge about life when one is acharyavan, controlled by the acharya. But when one is conducted by Rajogun and Tamogun, one does not care about anything. Instead, one acts like an ordinary foolish animal, risking his life, and therefore continuing to go through suffering after suffering. Nati vidu swarthagatim hi Vishnu. Such a foolish person does not know how to elevate himself in this body. Instead, he indulges in sinful activities and goes deeper and deeper into hellish life. So just to maintain the body, just to give pleasure to the body, one commits so many sinful activities. And that too, when ultimately we're going to leave this body. This is not permanent body. This is temporary. We're going to leave it. But this is something. This is what people don't understand. That's why ignorance is so prevalent in the world. And that is why, like here, Narad Muni has come, or in our case, Prabhupada has come to give us books, to give us instructions. Don't waste your life just in the process of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's all. One has to get above it, get beyond it. And this is what Prabhupada said, Nata Vidu Swarthi. Such a foolish person does not know how to elevate himself in this body. And this is why the acharyas come. And lucky for Nalkuvar Manigiri, Narad Muni himself has come. But before they get the knowledge, they need to learn the other lesson first. Deha kiman datu swayam nishektur maturev cha matu piturva balina kretur agne shano api va. While alive, does this body belong to its employer, to the self, to the father, the mother, or the mother's father? Does it belong to the person who takes it away by force, to the slave master who purchases it, or to the sons who burn it in the fire? Or if the body is not burnt, does it belong to the dogs that eat it? Among the many possible claimants, who is the rightful claimant? Not to ascertain this, but instead to maintain the body by sinful activities is not good. So who does this body belong to? Evam sadharanam deham avyakta prabhavapi ayam kovidvan atma satkritva anti jantu nrite asataha. This body, after all, is produced by the unmanifested nature and again annihilated and merged in the natural elements. Therefore, it's a common property of everyone. Under the circumstances, who but a rascal claims this property as his own and while maintaining it commits such sinful activities as killing animals just to satisfy his whims? Unless one is a rascal, one cannot commit such sinful activities. Atheists do not believe in the existence of the soul. Nonetheless, unless one is very cruel, why should one kill animals unnecessarily? The body is a manifestation of a combination of matter. In the beginning, it was nothing, but by a combination of matter, it has come into existence. Then again, when the combination is dismantled, the body will no longer exist. In the beginning, it was nothing, and in the end, it will be nothing. So in the middle, when it has some form, something is there, and we think this is all in all. This is what I have to maintain, I have to take care of, I have to give pleasure to, and If somebody is in the process of my giving pleasure to my body, then he is my enemy number one. That's all. Why then one should commit sinful activities when it is manifested? It's not possible for anyone to do this unless he's a rascal number one, of course. Unless he's rascal number one. That's proper way of preaching, heavy preaching. So anyway, so tomorrow I guess we'll continue with more preaching of Prabhupada's. And we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare